Right, so we've just started the recording, and this is today's photo. The and I must say, well done, Carlo, for knowing who this chap is. I wouldn't, from the photo alone, I wouldn't have guessed who it was. But from the way he was sitting, that very sort of almost show-offy sort of way of sitting. He seems very artistic and quite well experienced and developed as a personal character. That's my feeling by looking at that photo. So this is this is a photo of a painting of Robert Louis Stevenson. He's a Scottish writer who died perhaps 100 years ago or more. I think he was born in 1850 and died when he was 44. So he would have died 1894, I guess that would be. So it's just over 100 years ago, 130
Mhm.
odd years ago, I guess. So let's go over to the story then. So this is on lithub.com. We've used them several times. They're very good. Appears to be written by Trenton B. Olsen. Trenton B. Olsen. Just about 4 days ago. They say it takes about 20 minutes, roughly speaking. But we'll be reading this the whole of this week. And when we, as far as we, depending on where we get up to today, we'll start from that point on Wednesday and then similarly on Thursday. Okay, so let's get going. So, Carlo, let me just read the title, I should say. And it's Carlo, it's over to you. So, the title here is Robert Louis Stevenson's Art of Living and Dying. So, it's over to you,
Mhm.
Carlo. Over to you.
Okay. On summer break from his university studies, a young Robert Louis Stevenson worked late into the night. He apprenticed in his family's lighthouse engineering business but had no interest in the trade. Instead, he had made his own private determination to be an author and spent his nights writing a novel that would never see the light of day. Sickly, ambitious, and entirely unknown, he traded sleep for writing. Outside the open windows stood the celebrated towers of his family's achievements that still illuminate Scotland's rocky coastline. Do you want me to go on?
Yes, yes, carry on. That's
Okay.
great.
Article continues after. Okay, sorry. But looking out into the darkness, he saw only the haunting prospect of his own early death and tried to pen something that would outlive him. Suffering from life-threatening pulmonary illness, Stevenson toiled to leave a memory behind him in a monument of words. As the night wore on, uh, moths came thick to the candles and fell dead on his paper until he finally went to bed, raging. Sorry, that I can't read the last row. Sorry.
Okay, can you see it now?
Because yeah, you have to scroll. Thank you. He could die tomorrow with his great work unfinished.
Mm. Yes, yes, that's great.
So in the first part of the article, I concentrate myself
Mm.
in the rhythm. In the second one, I was focused on the and the sound.
Ah,
So
yes, that's
I lose the
interesting.
yeah. If you note, I lose the I lose the rhythm
Mm. Ah,
because
yeah,
I was
a
focusing
little bit.
myself.
Yes, you did. That's
Yeah,
true. Yeah, I noticed when you came to this word here, you seem to really get that spot on and really tried.
um,
So moths, it's a tricky,
yeah,
the TH is tricky, and then an
it's
S
tricky.
on the end. That's probably
Uh-huh.
one of the hardest one, I think, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it
So
means
do you want
words.
to say again? Sorry.
It means words, moths,
What means
words,
word?
nouns.
So what does what? Sorry.
The meaning of this word is a word,
No, these are
noun.
little creatures. This is a creature, a
Ah,
living,
monsters.
an
Okay.
insect. And no, it's an
Ah,
insect.
okay.
So a moth are sort of like
Sargent.
the butterflies that come at night time And often you'll have a light on, you
Yeah,
open
yeah,
the
yeah.
window, and the moths will fly in the window. But in
Mm-hmm.
this case, it's the candles attracting them, or his candle is attracting them.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, so
S-
that's a little creature. That most of them are sort of night creatures, but some live in the day, are attracted in the day. So some basically they're nocturnal, but some of them do live come out in the daytime as well. Um, yes, I did sort of notice what you were saying there. That's true about the THs in the second half,
mm,
but you lost the rhythm a little bit. That's good.
mm.
So let me just read. Let's reread the second part then. Um, but just with the rhythm maybe this time. So I'll read the second part to you, then give it
Yeah.
one more go. I'll read it my. No, I've not read this before, so I don't quite know what to expect. So, but looking out into the darkness, he saw only the haunting prospect of his own early death, and trying to pen something that would outlive him. Suffering from life-threatening pulmonary illness, Stevenson toiled to leave a memory behind. So behind him, in a monument of words, as the night wore on, moths came thick to the candles and fell dead on his paper, until he finally went to bed, raging that he could die tomorrow with his great work unfinished. I didn't read that very well, actually. So your go, Carlo, or second go.
So, second time.
Yes, but two. That's it. But looking.
Um, But looking out into the darkness, he saw only the haunting prospect of his own early death and tried to pen something that would outlive him. Suffering from life-threatening pulmonary illness, Stevenson toiled to leave a memory behind him in a monument of words. As the night wore on, moths came thick to the candles and fell dead on his paper until he finally went to bed raging that he could die tomorrow with his great work unfinished. Sorry.
Mm. That was really good. That was even better. And he had moth spot on. You can't improve on that pronunciation. And that is one of the trickiest words to pronounce, I would say. Well done. Very good. So it says in quote marks here, raging. So what does raging mean? What?
Raging,
Mm.
getting angry.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Yes. If you're raging, it's pretty much furious. It's as angry
furious.
as you almost could be,
Uh,
pretty much, almost to the absolute limit, I would say.
mhm,
So so there's obviously different words you might use. I would say that's sort of equal to furious. I'm furiously angry.
mm.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's good. And again, since another quote here, there's a quote marks here. So just to mention this, really. So for whatever reason, he seems to have made a comment about the fact that he may die before he finishes this work. Interesting. Maybe this word here. Do I say this word again? I think the very first time you said it, I didn't catch it the second time. So you just try
A
once more.
monument.
Yeah, that's it. Spot on. Monument. That's exactly how it said. Yeah,
Mm.
I think you just gave perhaps a wrong emphasis the very first time. Yeah, but you're saying it's spot on. That's it. So monument. That's how you got it.
I said monument.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yes,
I
that's
said
it. Something
monument,
like
yeah.
that. Yes. Um, I didn't realize or forgot perhaps even that his family business was lighthouses. So yes, so the Stevensons, I think, were famous for building lighthouses.
Mm.
And for whatever reason, and so in terms of history, I think most people, perhaps most young children would have heard about, at least
So
when
they,
I was
they they
growing up.
used to build lighthouses.
Yeah, that's right. So in the
Fantastic.
Victorian time, we were sort of as a nation, we were starting to build. I think we had built a few by that time, but we were building ever more lighthouses to stop shipping sort of crashing on the rocks and people dying and boats getting smashed.
Mm.
So that's the kind of lighthouse on the coast. That's what we're talking about here. And his family was known for that.
Mm.
So anything you want to ask about this little thing you've read out? Anything?
Yeah, there's some words that I
Hmm.
I don't know
Okay.
definitely. So let me check out. Sickly.
Ah, okay, yes.
Sickly.
We, it's a word, it was very commonly used in the Victorian times, and often it would be something like, I was a sickly child. And what they meant by that was, it meant when
Mm,
they were a child, I think it came a little while ago, strange, about a month ago, the same word. What it meant was that as a child, he was often ill, he was often
mm,
sick. And of course, in this case, we know, I think we just looked at the fact that he had this pulmonary illness.
yeah.
So this
Okay.
presumably was the illness, and presumably had it from childhood, I guess, possibly. And that's why he was so thin when we looked at his picture earlier.
Mm,
But we don't often use the word nowadays, sickly. But often we just say that we're sick. But back in these times when they said
yeah.
sickly, it was off very often it was just as a child or as an adult,
Mm,
they were just
mm-hmm.
ill. Anything else?
Mm, let me see. Toiled.
Ah, yes, okay. So it's in square brackets, the ED. So that
Mm-hmm.
just means, I think, that it was edited and someone put ED on the end of toil. So the word toil really means simply work, just means work, basically.
Mm,
But often it sort of often more often means perhaps hard work, heavy labor. So it's picking up heavy things, putting them down, something like that. But it doesn't have to be that, but often it is.
mm,
So, but here, of course, his toil is writing, but the hardness of it for him is that he's ill, and presumably he's going to die from this illness at some point, but pulmonary illness at some point, and presumably it's stopping him from finishing this book, or it's
mm,
making him so ill that he has to have a break to go to bed. So hopefully he can finish it tomorrow, I guess. But he feels he may. But I suppose it feels more like toil for him because he is ill and he is dying, presumably. That's why it feels much heavier. So heavy work, you could probably most of the time how that word is used. Heavy
mm.
work. Of course, we did moths, but raging.
Yeah.
And I suppose pulmonary has it comes from the Latin, I think, doesn't it, originally?
Yes, because lungs in Italian is
Mm.
polmone. Polmone. So
Pulmone,
yes,
pulmone.
polmone. So
Ah,
pulmonary is
yeah, is the
the infection of the
mm.
lung.
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
Polmonite is in Italian, lungs illness.
That's
Yes.
fascinating.
Every word that finish in ite is an inflammation in
Eater.
Latin. Ite,
That's it.
polmonite, or
Ah,
in
that's right.
Greek, or maybe in Greek, I don't know.
Originally, yes,
Yeah,
possibly.
originally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Polmonite is the lungs illness.
Mm,
Uh,
that's interesting.
Dermatite, skin illness.
Dermatitis. Yeah.
Yes, dermatitis. Yeah, in English as well, we have no such kind of finally
Yeah.
suffix.
Yes.
We can say, yeah.
Mm. I think we sort of, is that spelling
Fernanda
correct?
Fernanda helped me to find the words.
Mm. Oh,
Dermatite. She suggests me dermatite.
yeah,
Uh,
dermatitis.
I suggest I suggest to her to attend to the class, but he doesn't because she has to work
Yes.
every night. She's staring at me.
I like that. Yes. Don't embarrass me is what she's really saying, isn't it? So I'm trying to spell itis. Oh, there we go. It is itis. There we go.
Yeah.
It's like an extra T in it. Yeah, so indicating inflammation of a specific
Mm.
specific part of the body. And then they give the example tonsillitis, which is the
Yeah.
swelling of the
That's
tonsils in the throat.
arthritis,
Yeah.
gastritis,
Yes.
colitis. Yeah.
Yes. Uh, is the colitis, is that the colon or is that some other part of the bowel? Colitis?
Yes, yes, colon colitis. No, I don't know how it's pronounced in English.
Yeah.
In our
Oh,
language, it's
okay.
like in Italian, colit, colit,
Cool. Yeah.
colitis.
Okay.
colitis. Maybe.
Yeah, we say yes, we say colitis. That's true. Yes, we do. Absolutely. It, so informal, indicating a preoccupation with or imaginary condition or illness caused by, and there's one here that's saying computer itis. Is that right? Or telephone itis. No, itis. So these are made up illnesses, I think they're saying, imaginary ones. So what they're sort of indicating here, you can stick that on the end of anything and make up a pretend illness. Like I've got computeritis or telephoneitis. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Which is a bit silly, isn't it? But funny. Um, you read that so well. There's nothing really for me to comment on. I think here. I thought, but there was perhaps one. I think it was the word night. Thinking about it, but it was only just a slip of the tongue, I suspect. So, night. So night. Let's get rid of that other T on the end there. Don't want to start in level. Just say that word for me again. So night.
Me,
Yes, Colin.
night.
Night. That's it. Night. And thinking about it, there was some at the beginning. There was what was it now? So it was. I think it was the own. I think the so there's this. So this word starts with an H. It might have not been here. It might not be this, but I think it was something like this. And the next word, there's no H there. And in fact, this line has several H words, and then we go to an O. So I think one of them, but I think it was the his. I think you may have just been a bit too quiet on the H, and I think you may have put a sort of an H sound in front of the own. I think it was here, but it could have been somewhere else. I can't remember now. But this bit sort of makes sense to me that it might have been there. But it's just a slip of the tongue. It's nothing really. I mean, I make loads of mistakes, as I'm sure you may have noticed. So anyway, just for practice, let's do that little bit again. Okay, let's do that second line as well to there. Okay, so maybe I'll read it first, and then it's your go. So I try to get the rhythm right, and maybe you concentrate on the rhythm as well. Okay, so just as you did last time. So instead. So he's talking about the fact that his family used to build lighthouses, but he's quite a thin and sickly child, so I guess he didn't build lighthouses. He went to something else. So here we go. So instead, he made, instead, he had made his own private determination to be an author and spent his nights writing a novel that would never see the light of day. Sickly, ambitious, and entirely unknown, he traded sleep for writing. So you'll go. And fine, this is the last one, Carlo. You'll go.
Okay. Instead, he had made his own private determination to be an author and spent his nights writing a novel that will never see the light of day. Sickly, ambitious, and entirely unknown, he traded sleep for writing.
That was really good. Really, really, really good. You're really getting it brilliantly, I would say there. Fantastic. Well done. I don't think you can improve on that, to be honest. You've really got it there. But I guess it's doing it consistently, getting it right, and the pronunciation is bringing all of these things together. So very good. Well done. But where it says writing a novel that will never see the light of day, what does that mean? That sentence, half a sentence there. What's he trying to say?
Because he died before the day come.
Yes, pretty much. Yes, pretty much.
Because
So,
he was sick,
mm,
deeply sick. He
yeah.
died before to finish his novel, and so this novel never see
Mm,
the light
mhm.
of the day
That's it.
after.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Yes. So
Mm.
the bit I've highlighted here, this is a saying or perhaps an idiom. And often, if something is done and you think it will never be finished, or it won't be finished, it'll be destroyed perhaps, or just be locked away or whatever, you might say it will never see the light of day. So it won't be finished, or it will be lost, or you will destroy it. You will.
Ah, okay.
That's
So
what
it is not because he died.
Well, possibly, but I don't think he
Mm,
did die, actually, in reality. This is just a
mm,
feeling he had. So, but
mm,
this little saying here means some anything that won't be finished or will be or might be finished, but you will destroy it before anyone else sees it.
mm.
There's definitely been
So,
people, writers, who have put in their wills, destroy these pieces of work because they're not good
mm.
enough, that sort of a thing, or whatever.
Could you give me an example, please, Tony, about this
Um,
idiomatic
so,
sentence?
okay, in the same vein that it says here, my example would be something like, so this will, so let's say I'm dying, so I've written my will, but it will never see the light of day because I am not happy with the quality of it. Something like that.
Mm,
Does that make
okay.
sense? Not really,
Yeah,
perhaps. Not
yeah.
particularly good one, but there you go. Yeah. So the way I said that also, so I sort of rushed the words a little bit. So when it's an idiom, often it's sort of said almost as if it's one word, not exactly one word. But you'll notice when I said, hopefully, when I said never see the light of day, I sort of rushed it as if it was like its own sort of word or its own idea. So it's almost as if you might have put little hyphens between each of these words, indicating that at some point in the future they might all get joined together. So let me just read that little bit again and hopefully listen to how I say never see the light of day. And you'll notice that I rush those words, which are in blue at the moment. So I'll go from the instead again. Just listen to it again. So that's really a way how you would read an idiom or a saying like this. You sort of rush it a little bit. So instead he had made his own private determination to be an author and spend his nights writing a novel that would never see the light of day. It's just slightly faster, isn't it? Only a fraction of a second faster. So joining all the words together pretty much. Um, That's it, really. Well done, brilliant. You pretty much couldn't improve on that, to be honest. There's always little improvements you can make, but so can I, to be honest. So, any other questions, Carlo or Michael? Michael,
No.
fantastic. Okay, let's scroll on then.
Okay.
Okay, so raging that he. Yeah, I think we got up to there, didn't we? So this was raging that he could die tomorrow, but I don't think he did in the terms of the story here. He just had the feeling would die tomorrow or might
So he
die
was
tomorrow.
very angry to die, not
Yeah,
because of
because he was
not
had
because
the terrible feeling
yeah,
that his great work wasn't going to see the light of
yeah,
day because he
not
may
because
die.
he was worried about his life, but
I think
about
that's true. Yeah, he doesn't care about his life so much. He's kind of, I think he's sort of accepted he's going to die young, perhaps, and he died at 44. We noticed before we started recording, I
Mm.
think. So, Michael, over to you. This is your go now. If you
During
can.
this time, during this time, Stevenson liked to mope around graveyards where he went, specifically to be unhappy. More fruitfully, he began writing essays,
Mhm.
essays, making a name for himself in notification long before his famous novels. He grappled with the art of living and dying on the page. At the point of physical and mental breakdown at 23, he was sent by doctor's orders to the French Riviera, as recounted in his early essay Ordered South.
Mm.
South. There he experienced the beautiful setting as if touching things with muffled hands and seeing them through a veil. The young invalid was not perhaps yet dying, but hardly living either. At his low point, mm,
Mm.
when from the passion of life, he waited for death to come quietly and fitly. In a subsequent edition published 7 years later, Stevenson added a surprising note to the end of the ordered South. A man who fancies himself dying will get cold comfort from the very youthful view expressed in the essay, and reversed its resigned conclusion.
Hmm. Okay, we'll hold it there. It's the end of a sentence there, isn't it? And the rest is right at the bottom of the page. Good reading. Well done. Very good. So anything there you didn't understand or tripped you up a little bit, Michael?
Yeah.
Few words.
Um, no, first word, wind.
Oh, down the
Wind.
bottom. Yes.
I don't
So
know what's.
it's a quote of it's in a quote it seems, and again this little bit in square brackets means normally means someone's added the ed on the end to make it make sense, sort of thing, for modern day's version. So you're pretty much there actually when you just said it just now. So that's weaned,
Wind.
weaned. So yeah, that's it. So normally, 90% of the time, or 95% of the time, when you're talking about weaning or weaned or wean, you're talking about children and weaning. So when a child, I should say, I'm trying to think what it means actually. When a child first starts to take solid food, that is right, isn't it? Let me just copy that. You can say the child has been weaned. So they've been weaned off of milk, let's say mother's milk, and they've been weaned off of milk and onto solid food. Does that make sense? So that's where
Yeah,
the word
yes.
originally comes from. Oh yeah, so when a baby or baby animal, I didn't realise that. I suppose it's true though, is weaned, its mother stops feeding it milk and starts giving it other food, especially solid food. Yeah, that's the point. So it's a sort of a point when it's a sort of a stage of growing up, one of the stages of growing up, but at a very early stage. Stop having anyone who is still having milk is very immature. But if you're having solid food, you're that bit more mature and growing up, sort of a thing, but not that mature. So here he's saying weaned from from the passion of life. So, any ideas of what that might mean if you're weaned?
It's
Mm.
figurative, meaning
Yeah,
that
yeah,
obviously meaning that he it's uh,
yeah.
he not wouldn't like to live. He
Yeah.
accepted that.
Yes, that's it.
Yes,
That's it.
accepted.
That's it. He accepts that he may die. He's not addicted to living, I suppose. So, have I spelled that correctly? Yes. Stuck in it. Is that right? Yeah. So, accepted. If you accept something, it's accepted. So it sounds like that's an X there, doesn't it? Accepted. You say that as if it was almost an X somewhere there. Accepted. Accept. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Spot on. Well done. Anything else? That's very good. So that's weaned.
He waited for death to come
Mm.
quietly and fitly.
Um,
It's
yeah,
like
it's.
fit.
Mm, hmm
It fit you. It's it's like, oh, this clothes, this
Yes.
treasures
Mm.
fit you, or you to keep in fit.
Yes. I go back to the clothes one. So when your clothes fit you properly, everything is in good order and it's correct, isn't it? That's what you could say. So if you have that same idea, everything's in good order and correct. What the meaning I take this to be. I could be wrong, of course. So he waited for death to come quietly and in proper order and correctly. That's what you could put in there, fitly. If something's fitly, it's correct and as it should be. So let's just quickly put that in there. So it's slightly poetic the way he's using his language here is slightly poetic and just beyond what we're quite used to. But it is very well, it's quite well written, good writing, I would say. It seems these little quotes seem quite good. So in American English, the form fit is used in the present tense. I don't really care about that. If something fits, that means it's the correct size and shape. If something is a good fit, it fits well. If you are fitted for a particular piece of clothing, if something fits somewhere, it can be designed. It fits a computer, crowd space, whatever. If you fit something into a particular space, no. If you fit something somewhere, you attach it there. If something fits, there's 8 meanings here. We're going to get to the end of this. Meet match. This is a verb, isn't it? Now, yeah. So you can. You can see there's a good number of. So here we go. So as an adjective, so if something is fit to do something, they have the appropriate qualities or skills. So in this sense, he has the skills to do whatever he's talking about. I think this is the one, or at least this one seems to fit in with the meaning that would allow it to do it. So you're not fit to be a mother. Yeah, I think this is the meaning here, isn't it? So in this case here, it's saying you're not fit to be a mother. In a word, this government isn't fit to rule. Yeah? So the word fit can also mean appropriate, qualified, suitable, competent. I think that's pretty much the meaning that he's using here. So
Mhm.
quietly, and appropriately, perhaps you might say. It's almost the correct meaning, isn't it? But remember, this is perhaps 150 years ago, so perhaps the word was used just slightly differently back then. Anything else at all? Anything else there?
Yeah.
Just spot it. Just call out whatever it is.
Uh,
Hmm.
south, south, uh, s- ordered south,
Yeah.
north,
So
south,
yeah, it is a bit tricky as a word. So let's just write it out here. So your north is better than your south, I think. Have I spelled that correctly? Yes. So the first one is north, and the bottom one is south. South, north, and
south,
south. Yeah.
south, south,
Your th is dying out a little bit when you're saying the south. Um,
south, south,
yeah,
because the first letter is S.
it's tricky. Yeah, definitely.
It's tricky.
So
South,
can you do the top one though? Just the top one. So north.
north,
Yeah, that
north,
your north one's better. So let me do both of them for you. So north, north, and the bottom one, south, south, south. Do you want to do the bottom one again? You'll go bottom one.
north,
Hmm.
north,
Good,
south,
even better.
south.
Yeah, that's it. I'd say your souths were pretty much there then, actually. Yeah, you're sort of 90% there. Your first south was very good. The second one, you lost it a little bit, but that's good. So do it once more. So south, south. You'll go.
South,
Yeah.
south,
Yeah, that's it. Your first one was perfect. And your second one, you probably overdid the TH on the second one. But you're getting on there. Sometimes the trick is just making the sound at the end, isn't it? Sometimes. So maybe you want to just practice that word too. So we had that. So Carlo read this one out. So that's the plural. These are those little creatures that fly around in the nighttime, little moths. So moths, moths. You'll go moths.
moths,
Yeah,
moths,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
moths.
pretty much it, I'd say. And maybe another one. is, oh dear, no. Is this fair? So I'll take the S off. So it's quite tricky to say it with the S. So I'll try to say both of these, and I'll put the S on this bottom one. So month, month. That's not too bad without the S, but put the S on it becomes so much harder. Um, months, months, months. So do you want to say both these bottom ones too? You'll go.
Uh, I didn't recognize the difference.
Oh. Um, I suppose when I'm saying them, I think the TH is quite clear, and it's the same sort. All those letters are roughly about the same sort of sound. But when you say the second one, I think the TH gets slightly truncated. I think it does anyway. So I'll ask the dictionary, see what it says. But the S becomes a lot clearer. So the TH dies a little bit in sort of volume, but the S gets a bit louder. Often because when you're saying it's in plural, it might be more important that you're talking about months rather than 1 month on its own sort of thing. So let's just pop the word month in the dictionary and see what comes out, just for interest. See if we can spell it correctly. So month, month after month, month of Sundays. That's an interesting saying, and there's the plural there. So let's listen to both of them how they say it. So, normally sort of say the opposite of what I say, but let's listen.
month,
Oh, that's quite good. I think yes, month.
month,
Okay, onto the plural. Listen to the plural.
months,
Yeah, she's saying all of them with equal
Yeah.
sort of volume, I would say. So she's sort of not quite doing it as I would say. Um, so, so I'll say month first of all, then I'll play the ladies play the lady on the screen, and then it's your go, Michael. So me first, then the lady, then it's you. Here we go. So me, month.
month,
Your go, Michael.
Month,
Yeah,
month,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. The second one was better. That's it. So let's do the plural now. So me first, then the lady, then it's you, Michael. So me, months, lady.
months,
Your go, Michael.
month, month,
Hmm. Um, try again. So months, months.
months,
months,
Oh, that sounded better actually.
months,
Oh, yeah. Listen to her, then it's your go. Once again, so I'll play them, then it's you.
months,
Your go.
month, month,
Once more.
months,
Oh, the last one sound pretty good. Yes, the last sound pretty good. So
month.
the very first one you said, I think it's the way the Americans say it. It was exactly how the Americans say it, I would say. So the Brits, almost all Brits, sort of try to say the TH, and it's sort of months, months. And I think most people do emphasize the S, but so I don't entirely agree with the way they've said it. But when the Americans say it, I'm sure this has come up before, they say MU, probably MU it sounds like months. Yeah, months, months. Yeah, M maybe, months. Yeah, they miss out the H. No, it sounds more like this word here. So months, months, months. So there's no H there. I don't know if you can quite hear that. It is tricky. Months. Yeah, months. That's what they say. I don't know what the dictionary says about it. So let's quickly go down the American way. Uh, they say that they do, but I think they're wrong. I'm fairly sure they're wrong. Let's listen to it anyway.
month,
Month. No, they don't. I don't think so. So, well, we'll leave that as it is. Maybe we'll come back to it at the end because I'm probably spending too long on that, really. So, yeah, so south. Once again with south, maybe. So, south.
South,
That's really
south,
good. That's really, really good, actually. Well done. That's so much better. Brilliant. Um, yeah, I noticed you had a little bit of trouble saying that, so this word comes up. Is there any other words that you want to go back over that you noticed when you're reading, perhaps?
to mope,
That was at the beginning, wasn't it? Yeah. You,
Yes,
you had it spot
because
on when you said it, but you know what it means? To mope.
but yeah, it means, yeah, I know means it's like you unsatisfied,
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
you upset,
Mm.
but in this it's like verb to
Yeah, that's
mope.
right. But and that's quite a normal use of it. Yeah, that's right. Yes. So to mope around, and in fact, I would say half the time when it is used with these two words together, to mope around, or three words together. Yeah. So it's being a bit depressed, a bit sad, a bit sort of a bit lost in what you're doing, I suppose. A bit aimless, a little bit aimless. That's it. Yeah, anything else? So while you're thinking, I was impressed with your French Riviera. Spot on. I thought that might trip you up when I saw it there. That was very good. Um, how about this little phrase here? Could you read that little bit again, maybe?
I don't know. The yan invalid. In
Oh,
this meaning, it's maybe invalid. Invalid,
yes.
it's like not correct.
Spot on. Yeah. Well done.
Invalid is person with disability. Yeah.
That's it. Spot on. That's it. So from the context, you have to work out which way to pronounce this one. That's it. And you worked it out. So well done. Well done. So yeah, the young invalid. Invalid. If
Invalid.
you say invalid, it means there's some sort of an injury, perhaps a broken leg or a missing foot or something like that. That's it. And the other way of saying it is invalid. So you might say, oh, this coupon is invalid. This something is invalid. Doesn't similar meaning, of course, or similar roots, I guess, but one is relates to people, one relates to things, you might say. So well done, that was good. I think I think the other one I noticed was so ordered south there I think the ed was wrong here on the end of this one. Just say that word again, but with the other pronunciation of the ed maybe. So just the ed was
Ex
wrong. That's it.
Experience it.
No, the first one.
No, the experience.
Yeah, that's
Experience.
it. Experience. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's so tricky. So experienced. So it sounds like a T, this one, doesn't it? I think. Experienced. Hmm. I forget. I
And
think there's about three different sounds you can make with the ED. And it all
E, D,
depends
and
on that
ED.
letter
Yeah.
there. Whatever letter that is, it tells you what sound to make. And I don't know what the rules are. I just do it from memory. Yeah, that's it. Well done. Good. So I think you've done really well there. So any questions from anyone else, as long as you,
The
Michael, Carlo,
the
anything
word
else, Marco?
the word at the second in the second sentence, more fruitfully.
Yes.
It's he began writing essays,
Yes.
or essays.
So
How
yeah,
essay,
tricky. Yeah, I noticed you read it out, but you corrected yourself, I think. So essay, essay,
essay,
s.
essay,
Um, so I'm actually saying say on the end. I am saying say, but essay, essay. It's more like I'm saying these two letters, S and A. Strangely, essay, essay. Try to say it that way. Essay.
essay,
Yeah, that's better.
essay.
That's better. Pretty much it. Yes. Essay, essay. That's it. You've got it. You've got it. I think. Yeah. It's a bit tricky. It's not an obvious thing, is it? So when it says, oh, there's another one here. So the word, I think it's the spot on actually. So when it says fancies, what does that mean? Fancies? So a man who fancies himself dying, what does that mean? What the word fancies there
No,
means?
fancy. It's a fancy t-shirt. It's a fancy job. It's a fancy. It's
Yeah.
looks great. It's good. I don't know. It's
Mm.
positive.
Mm.
It's usually positive context.
Yeah, yeah.
Fancy.
So
And in this, a man who fancy himself that a man who it's another example to to say accepted, like in
Um,
men who accepted dying.
mm.
Who,
It's not a million. It's not. It's sort of in that area. It's not a million miles from that. It's fairly close, but again, he's being. I was going to say poetic, but not really. At this time, back in the 1800s, this word was used quite often, and I don't know if we use it quite so much now, but maybe we do. But and there's several meanings to this word. They are all sort of vaguely related. But if something, you could say fantasy, even fantasy.
yeah,
So there's the idea of fantasy in this word, meaning of this word too.
yes,
It probably
yes,
comes
yes,
from
yes,
fantasy.
yes.
So a man who fantasizes, let's put it that word, fantasizes himself dying will get cold comfort from the very youthful view expressed in this essay, and that's probably the meaning. So this is another way of saying fantasizes or thinks about,
Mhm.
but it's not exactly fully accepts. I suppose
Yes, yes, yes.
you
It's
could
another
be
meaning.
that. It's in that area. So it's the idea of having a fantasy about it or thinking about it. Another way of using it is perhaps not so much now, but I say 50 years ago, when a woman thought a man was attractive, she might say to her girlfriend, "Oh, I fancy that man. I fancy that
Mm.
man." Or that I think that man fancies me, she might say. She might be wrong, of course. So there's a good few different meanings, but they're all vaguely in the same sort of area about fantasy, things aren't clear. But something can be fancy, which means it's special. If something is fancy. So that's just with a Y on the end. So the I, the E, and the S are missing, just a Y. So I might have a fancy pair of trousers. That just means they're perhaps have got perhaps some special painting on it. There's some sort of design that's a bit special on them, maybe.
Questionable.
Yeah, but maybe. I don't know. But you probably wouldn't use that word nowadays quite so much. But you in literature, I guess in books and whatever, you probably will see it much more often than in everyday language nowadays. Okay, so any questions from anybody else? And along with you, Michael, of course. Otherwise, we'll scroll on. So we've had about roughly an hour. It's almost an hour, but we'll read one more if that's okay. Let's carry on then. So maybe to keep it together, I'll read the bit that got missed, but I'll read from there actually. Maybe. Now let me just read the whole of this paragraph then, just to make it sort of let's help it to all make sense in our heads, sort of a thing. So, in a subsequent edition published 7 years later, Stevenson added a surprising note to the end of Ordered South. A man who fancies himself dying will get cold comfort from the very youthful view expressed in this essay, and re, resigned conclusion. Oh, resigned conclusion. So resigned. So in the story, he reversed the way it seemed to end. That's what that seems to say there. So he changed the story round at the end. That's quite a big change. So through a matriation, yeah, through a matriation, yeah, through a matriation process, he attributed to experience, interaction, and a great deal of reading, he came to recognize the self-pity behind his youthful haunting of the graveyard. It was it was himself that he saw dead, his virtues forgotten, his his the vague epitaph. Pity him, but the more pity him, but the more for where a man is all pride and his and personal aspiration. He goes through fire unshielded. So a little bit poetical, and I'm struggling a little bit there. So let's just roll on and pretend I didn't have any trouble reading that. So I think we have time for each of us to read perhaps one more paragraph. So are you okay to read this one, Carl, if you have
Yeah,
time? Great,
sure.
okay.
20 years later, in the fall of 1887, Stevenson arrived in New York, a global celebrity. In the previous 4 years, he had published Treasure Island, Kidnapped, A Child's Garden of Verses, and most sensationally, Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, an adaptation of which had just premiered on Broadway. Reporters, publishers, and fans crowded Stevenson before he could get off the ship. For all his youthful longing for recognition, he found the experience of fame idiotic to the last degree.
Mm. Wow, that's interesting.
Mm.
So you didn't really like fame. You didn't see the point in fame. So anything there that was interesting, tricky?
Mm. I can't pronounce well youthful.
I mean,
Wow.
I didn't particularly notice that, but I think it did
Mm.
okay. So youthful,
Mm.
tricky.
It's
Okay.
tricky, yeah.
So let's just play around with that a little bit.
Youthful.
So youth.
Mm-hmm.
So
Youth.
if you're youthful, it means you're young,
Yeah. Youthful.
and youthful, a variation on that. So
Youthful.
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 So let me just say both of them, then it's your go.
Uh-huh.
So youth, and the bottom one, youthful, youthful. So the TH is tricky, and then with an F, which is a similar sound but different. So that's the tricky bit, isn't it? So youthful, youthful. Your go?
So, youthful.
Hmm.
Uh,
So it sounded as if you did made a TH sound there, but then you made another TH sound there. That's what it sounded like. So two TH sounds, one following the other. So
uh-huh.
that is tricky, and maybe I'm not saying it particularly well either. So let's listen to them. Youthful dreams, youthful, relatively youthful. I don't know why they do this. So youthful, here we go. So adjective, someone who is youthful behaves as if they are young or younger than they really are. That's interesting. Well, it can just be, you can be full of youngness, I suppose.
youthful,
So there's a slight gap there to give your tongue the time and the ability to go from the TH sound to the F. So let's listen to how they say it again.
youthful,
And you can hear a little bit of emphasis at the beginning here. So it's up there, isn't it? So youthful, isn't it? So you're pretty good actually, I would say. But let's try it. Let's listen again.
youthful,
Right. So I'll say it, then it's then it's them, then it's your go. So I'll say it once, then it's him, then it's your go, Carlo. So youthful.
youthful,
Your go, Carlo.
Youthful.
Yeah, so I
You,
would say
you,
the F was pretty much silent that time.
yeah.
It sounded like it wasn't there at all. So if we go, so let's go back. Just a bit of a gap in there for the moment. So I think like a big gap in there for some strange reason. So if we just say them separately, so youthful, youthful. Can you try that with a
Yeah,
gap?
youth. So, youthful.
Hmm.
Youthful.
When you're saying this
Youthful.
bit here,
Mm-hmm.
it does sound a little bit. The F is a bit lacking in sort of strength, I would say. So if I've got a glass of water here, and it's almost full. So that's double L when you say full. That when it's here, it's one L, but when it's used on its own, it's double L. So you can just say this word on its own with double L. So full.
Full.
It does sound a little bit like, as in fall over, fall.
Mm.
So if I just say both of these words, so full glass, and fall over. So full, fall, full, fall. Can you say both of these words over here?
Mm. They're quite similar.
Yeah, very.
So fall, fall.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm.
That's good. Yeah, that's pretty much there. So
Mm.
remember that the first one. Let's do it once more though. So full, fall, full, fall, and again maybe, Carlo.
Fall, fall,
Yeah, yeah. That's it. Got on. That's it. Well done. Well done. Full, full.
fall,
It's
fall.
yeah. You went back again. It's easy to trip up. So, so youthful, youthful.
Youthful,
Oh,
youthful. Yeah.
that's really good.
Uh-huh.
I'd say you have it there. So remember that and just practice it if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Youthful. Once more. So youthful. You'll go.
Youthful.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty good. You pretty much
Yeah.
got it here, I'd say. That's good. Okay, just remembering it now. Just practice it in an
Mm-hmm.
hour, or practice it in 10 minutes when we're finished, or half an hour when we're finished. Let's go back to the little passage. Is this the one? No. Yeah, this is, isn't it? So anything else here?
Mm. No.
Yeah, that was good. Well done.
So almost
Um,
clear.
yeah. So is
Mm-hmm.
it idioti in Latin? Is it? What's it in? How do you say this word in Italian?
In Italian,
Yes.
or idiotic, I can say,
Oh, it
but
would
maybe,
come in.
but maybe in
Okay.
English is idiotic.
I think we say idiotic. Idiotic.
Idiotic.
Yeah,
Also,
that's it.
okay.
Idiotic. That's it.
Idiotic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so almost a little bit of a phrase or idiom. This has been used many times, but not. I suppose there's a lot of things that are idiotic. So there's a lot of phrases with this word in there. So let's just practice that little phrase then. So
Mm-hmm.
idiotic to the last degree. Your go. So idiotic to the last degree. Your go.
Idiotic to the last degree.
Oh yeah, that's it. Spot on. Spot on. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that last line, using that last sentence again. So I'll read it first. For all his youthful longing for recognition, he found the experience of fame idiotic to the last degree. You'll go.
For all his youthful longing for recognition, he found experience of fame idiotic to the last degree.
Yeah, that's it. That's good. Good reading. Only thing is though, when I got to idiotic, I assume that's the key word in the whole sentence, I would say. So when I got to here, my voice went up, and I gave a lot of emphasis to that word because I would say that's the whole point of that sentence, the word idiotic. So I just read it once again. And I suppose to the last degree is definitely a saying on its own, but and so is idiotic to the last degree. So let me just read that again, but with that giving special emphasis to that one word, which is probably how most people would read that, I would say. So for all his youthful longing for recognition, he found the experience of fame idiotic to the last degree. So over to you again.
Yes. For all his youthful longing for recognition, he found the experience of idiotic to the last degree.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's
Math.
pretty good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let's do it once more though. But this time, try to really get that one if you can. So I'll say it twice when I read it, and then it's your go when I've read the whole thing. So, but I'll say that word twice to help you with that. So, for all his youthful longing for recognition, he found the experience of fame idiotic to the last degree. So, your go.
For all his youthful longing for recognition, he found the experience of fame idiotic to the last degree.
Yeah. Okay. That's okay. That's okay.
Right.
Okay. Anything else? Any from anybody? Okay. Okay, we'll leave it there then. And we'll roll on once more for Michael. So this is your final one, Michael, here. I'll scroll up so you can see it, hopefully.
Okay. He had come seeking health rather than publicity. For nearly 3 years, he'd been to seek to leave his house on the English coast. His doctor told him that he likely wouldn't survive another winter in the British Isles. He often wrote in bed or when he was in too much pain to manage a pen, dictated to a scribe. When the bloody cough of his lung hemorrhages kept him from speaking, he composed by thinning letter by letter.
Wow. Yes. Really good. Once again. Anything that you want to ask about there,
I think
Michael?
I'm thinking else. Hmm. Isles,
Yeah.
island,
Yeah.
Isles
Yes.
is correct.
So basically, it does actually mean island, or effectively. So yeah, but it's Isles. So the British Isles, we say, the British Isles. And so that means all of the islands of Britain. So that would be Northern Ireland. The back at this time, it included the whole of Ireland and the Isle of Wight, all the islands around Scotland. Yeah, the British Isles. Yeah, that's what it means. When it says that, it means all the islands together. That's it. So Isles. Do you want to say it again?
Isles,
Yeah,
the
spot on.
British, the British Isles.
That's it.
It's not old-fashioned Isles.
Um,
Yeah, because
mm,
I know island,
yeah.
islands, or
Mm.
the plural form of island, islands or isles.
So if it's Ireland, as in Northern Ireland or Southern Ireland, so that's the country right next to England, let's say, that is spelled Ireland on the screen here. It should be a capital I, of course, but it just went
No,
wrong.
no,
Yeah, carry on.
no, no. I mean, maybe
Hmm.
uh, it's pronounced like Island, island. Uh,
So it is all these words are related. They all sort of come from each other. So, but they are pronounced in. So on the screen now, I've got Island. So
yeah,
these top two words are the same pronunciation, pretty much the same pronunciation. So the top one is island. Some people would say the bottom one slightly differently, but I say them both the same. Island and island. Some people say the country slightly differently, but to be honest, they are the same pronunciation. Americans would definitely say it differently. Island. Do you want to say this top one here? Island.
island,
That's
island,
it. Yeah, spot on, spot on. But when it's Isle, that's Isle. Isle. Yeah. You could just say Isle for me out loud. Isle.
isle,
That's
isle.
it. Yeah, that's it.
But I
Oh,
know
hmm.
island, like country island.
Yeah. That's this
It's
one
all
here.
Ireland, yes, north and south,
That's it.
but
Yeah.
but I know the piece of the land surrounded by water is island
Yes. And that's that one.
without capital, not like a country, like
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's on the screen here. I've highlighted the word. It is a capital S, but it could be a small I, capital I should say. It could be a small I too. So this is, you could say Australia is an island. It's a very big island, admittedly. It's an island. That's it. Australia is an island. And so is Britain. Britain's an island. And Ireland is an island, if that makes sense. Does that help?
okay, okay, I understand. Isle, we use it like in especially in poetry.
Yeah, that's true.
Isle.
Yeah, it is more poetic. There's much more
Uh,
poetic. Yes. Um, but an isle here often means without the S on. There's no S on the end here, written here on the screen at the moment. Where I have it written. That's much more poetic, and it could be a small island. Half a mile across, maybe a very small island, and perhaps even an isle in the middle of a river. Sometimes you have an island, and you might refer to it as an isle in the middle of a river. So you could actually, so these two words, sometimes you could swap them you could swap them over in certain circumstances, but not always. A small island in the river is also an isle in the river, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And just to make it slightly more complicated, so that's isle at the top there, and at the bottom I've written it with an A on the front, and that's an isle as well. But this isle at the bottom, that's the isle in English you have in, say, in a church, or when you go to the supermarket, you might go to the aisle with the baked beans in it, or the aisle with the bananas in it. Aisle. So that bottom aisle and this one make the same sound, but used differently. So the top one is more sort of do with land, and where the bottom one is do like inside a building, I suppose. Okay. So we put an so I guess I take this to be the American spelling. I don't think we ever spell it this way in British English, but Americans do spell it this way. We put an A roughly about there somewhere, I think. My spelling's so bad. Let me read the whole of this thing back, because there was a couple of words which it just didn't sound quite right. I think one of them was hemorrhage. So we say hemorrhages.
Hemorrhages.
Yeah.
Hemorrhages.
Yeah, hemorrhages. So if I take the S off, so hemorrhage. Do you want to say it without the S?
Hemorrhage.
Yeah,
Hemorrhage.
Yeah, you've got it spot on. You've said it. You don't have any trouble saying that, really. Well done. Let me read the whole thing. Oh, I've got hiccups now. Excuse me. So he had come. So no, I've given quite a lot of emphasis at the beginning here, and I don't think you did, and so it didn't sound quite right. But I make loads of mistakes reading anyway. So this is sort of like the rhythm of the passage here. So he had come. So he had come seeking health rather than publicity. So there, I've given a bit of emphasis to that word, but more emphasis to that word, because the sentence here is a comparison between these two words. And so I have a little bit of emphasis to that, but more than that, because I think that is the word, that's the way I think it needs to be read. So he had come to seeking health rather than publicity. You could read it either way, I suppose. But for nearly 3 years, he had been too sick to leave his house on the English coast. His doctor told him that he likely wouldn't survive another winter in the British Isles. He often wrote in bed, or while he was or when he was in too much pain to manage a pen, dictate to a scribe. Now, I've read that terribly there, because I wanted to put other words in there. So let me try again. So he often wrote in bed, or when he was in too much pain to manage a pen, dictate to a scribe. When the bloody cough of his lung hemorrhages kept him from speaking, he composed by signing, letter by letter. So that last bit there, do you know what he's saying here, this last few words? He composed by signing, letter by letter. What does that mean, do you think,
I
Michael?
think he spell letter by letter the word.
So when it says composed, so when you're writing a letter, you can say I'm composing a letter. I'm writing a letter, composing a letter. So, or a book in this case. But when it says signing, that sounds to me by he's putting one finger up maybe for the letter I, and then maybe he's putting up he's putting a T shape with his fingers to make the letter T for a word maybe. Does that make sense? So that, to my mind, that's what signing means. He's giving some sort of a sign for what letter he wants. Maybe it's 2 fingers for letter B, because that's the second letter of the alphabet, maybe. I don't know. So that's how I would read that. Let me read that again. So, when the bloody cough of his lung hemorrhages. So hemorrhages means his lungs are bleeding. So when you have a hemorrhage, it means there's blood coming out somewhere. If my finger is hemorrhaging, it means there's a lot of blood coming out of my finger or out of my toe or wherever the hemorrhage is. But here it's his lungs that are hemorrhaging because of course he has TB. So let me read that again. So when the bloody cough of his lung hemorrhages kept him from speaking, so he can't speak, he composed by signing letter by letter. So he can't speak, so his lungs are keeping him from speaking. And so he's giving some kind of sign. I don't know quite what the signs are, but there you go. And of course, he was dictating to a scribe, and obviously a scribe is someone who writes down what you say. That's what a scribe is, of course, as a noun in that sense. So brilliant reading, everybody. Well done. So if you guys are here on Wednesday, we'll carry on from this point on. So I'll copy that down now so I don't forget. And I'll stick it at the very bottom. So any other questions about anything? Do you want to discuss this at all or anything like that? Well, you can discuss it a little bit, I think. If you can hang on.
This month, moth.
Yes, there, yeah.
It's like you can work as a speech therapist for people who
It's
can
almost
pronounce.
speech therapy, isn't it?
He's in sounds.
Pigeon sounds.
He's in. He's in.
Yeah.
Month.
Oh, you've gone quiet all of a sudden there. You've suddenly gone very, very quiet, Michael. I don't know why. So maybe just do these words then. So which were your tricky words? I don't think you had many tricky words, did you really, Michael? So are you okay with these isle and isles and islands?
Yes. It's completely understandable.
Okay, good. I'm glad you understood because I don't. Accepted night itis. So Carlo, would you like to practice some of these words again?
Yeah.
So did you have north and south? No, that was Michael, wasn't it?
From the beginning.
Okay,
Oh,
from the top down then. Over to
yeah.
you. You'll go. So do you want to
Okay.
start first?
So north, south, moths, month, months,
Hmm.
months,
Mhm.
youth, youthful, isle, island.
Mm. Yes,
Mhm.
you're really good. That's really good. Maybe perhaps the worst one was that one. But it is tricky. But your youth is really clear. You're really clear.
Hmm.
So, but the key sort of thing we sort of noticed, I think, was the way I would do it anyway, is so say the word youth, leave a gap, and say full, full.
Youthful, youthful,
Um,
youthful.
Not really. So your
Not really.
F, whatever reason your F isn't sounding quite right, I would
Hmm.
say.
So
So
youthful,
that's it.
youthful.
That's it. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
had it then. That's it. And then maybe slowly bring them together.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big trick. That it is. You got the then a th.
Mm-hmm.
That's the tricky bit, isn't it? And hopefully there's not many words like that, but I think there's a handful of them, isn't there? Um,
Understood.
I'm gonna think there's a.
I'm practicing a lot of tongue twister in
Hmm.
English. If you want, I
Yeah,
can read.
that's pretty much it. Yes.
Yeah, if you want, I can read you
Read.
some.
Oh, you got
Some.
some there, have you?
Yeah, a lot of tongue twisters I
Okay, go
got in
for it.
English. Yeah, just let me
Bring
search.
them up.
So,
Indeed.
English tongue twisters. There are many, and I like to enhance my pronunciation
Enhance.
by
Yeah.
reading them.
Yeah.
So, I fought a fought, but the fought I thought was it the thought I thought. Did you understand, Tony?
I can see the words you're playing with, but exactly which
So
way to put them, I
I
don't know.
thought a thought, but the thought I thought wasn't the thought I thought.
So it sounds like I thought and
I thought,
I thought
yeah.
a thought,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't the thought I thought it was. But is that right? But was that what it was? It wasn't, oh, blast. Yes, right. It wasn't the thought I thought it was. Is that what it was? Wad. Something like that, was it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, okay.
I missed that T there.
I thought, but the thought I thought wasn't the thought I thought. It's a good way to practice pronunciation, no? This kind
Yeah,
of phonetics. And so,
yes. And
mhm.
I think you need to practice it a bit more, I should say.
Yeah.
So,
But
but it is.
there's another that I think it is very uh tricky. Just let me find it. So
Mhm.
uh what is it? Let me check on the internet. Yes, because I can't understand English tongue twisters.
Mhm.
There are many. Hard. English tongue twister.
Hard ones.
Yeah.
Make them easy, please. I'm joking.
So uh can't understand because I download.
Mhm.
Sorry. Ah, there is this one. So Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter Betty bought was bitter. So Betty bought a better butter, and it was better than butter Betty bought before.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So it is quite a tricky one, I suppose. So
Yeah.
Betty bought a bit of butter. Is that right?
Yeah.
So Betty.
Maybe it's American. I don't know.
So it's really about the T's there, isn't it? This one's about the T's. It's very
Mm-hmm.
easy to miss out the T's, sounds like. So
Mm-hmm.
let's put a
So there
little
are
T in
many. Maybe you can arrange a class
there.
about this kind of uh, tongue twisters,
Yes,
maybe
yes.
for enhance the pronunciation.
That's it,
There are
yeah.
many. I wish to wish the wish you wish to wish. But if you wish the wish the witch wishes, I won't wish the wish you wish to wish.
That doesn't make any sense to me, that last one.
Or this is very famous. She sells
Yes.
seashells by the seashore.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, yes.
I
She,
practice a lot. I
yes.
practice a lot every day.
You do.
Yeah.
So she sells seashells.
Seashells,
She sells by the seashore.
the
That's it.
seashore, yeah.
Yeah, seashore.
And I'm challenging my English colleagues at school.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. I got
So
fun.
Michael, do you have any tongue twisters?
No.
No, I refuse.
Uh, yeah, I would like to share with you. Have you ever seen the movie Treasure Island? It's a
Yes,
treasure. Yes, and
Mm.
the modern. It's not. It's maybe 2002 movie like remake to the Treasure Island. It's called Treasure Planet.
Oh, is it set in outer spaces or something, is it? Or...
Yes.
Mm, okay.
It's so I watch with my kids. It's very cool.
So what was that version called again? I didn't quite catch the name.
Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet.
Yeah, it's the same
Ah,
idea, the same plot. Yes, like in
Mm.
the in original book or
Mm.
movie, or but in space and
Ah, yeah, okay.
Tony,
yeah.
Michael, listen to this. How much
Okay.
would a woodchuck, sorry, how
Oh,
much
yes.
would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Yes. Woodchucker. That's it, yes.
So this is my favorite.
That is your favorite, is it? Well
Yeah,
done.
how much would a woodchuck chuck? Sorry, how much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Very good.
Did you understand everything?
Yes, I
The
did.
first part.
Yes, I think so.
I understand first part.
Okay, guys, I have to go.
Yes.
Have a dinner.
Okay. That's okay.
Thanks.
See you then.
We will see you
Okay.
on Thursday.
See you Thursday then.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Bye.
That's okay. See you next time. Bye-bye, Michael.